Part of what the position of Mr. Abure's leadership is the fact that people like Honorable Afam Victor Ogene, the leader of the Labour Party caucus in the House of Representatives, has been removed from that position. And the man is here with me tonight on the program. Honorable Afam Victor Ogene is the head, as the chair of the Labour Party caucus in the House of Representatives. Thank you so much indeed for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Sheung.
Good evening, Nigeria. You have been removed. That's what we hear as the head of the caucus in the party in the House of Reps.
By who?
I mean, the word came out yesterday. Didn't you see it?
Well, I saw it. My attention was brought to it, and the caucus responded by educating our former national chairman that
Is it former?
Yes.
You're referring to Julius Abure?
Yes, the highest court in the land, the Supreme Court, declared that last Friday, April 4th. And we did school him that for you to fire, you must be the one to have hired. He didn't hire me as caucus leader. My colleagues did in April 2023 when we came in through a very competitive election, out of which 34 members I won with 21 votes. And I still repose their confidence. In fact, even today, at the sidelines of our meeting, there is this communique signed by 21 members who attended the meeting. And so if we have about 28 members, remember some traveled out, we are on recess, but we'll have as much as 21 members
of the Labour Party.
Of the Labour Party House of Representatives caucus. And they signed in, affirming my leadership of the party. So it's a non-issue.
Aside that, I mean, when you say that Julius Abure is a former national leader of the former national chairman, what do you mean? Is the Supreme Court succinct and straightforward in that the Supreme Court categorically mentioned that Julius Abure ceased to become the national chairman of the party?
I'm sure you know you are a lawyer. I have not come here to sit in judgment over this highest court in the land, just like the Abure group are doing. This judgment, 48 pages, is written in plain English for even a layman to understand. First, listening to him, he referred to Nenadi Usman as a non-member of the party and that the National Caretaker Committee is unknown to the party. But he forgets that it is this same caretaker committee that is the appellant in the instant case we are talking about. And all the three issues formulated for resolution was resolved in favor of this same National Caretaker Committee led by distinguished Senator, former Minister Esther Nenadi Usman. Whereas Abure's cross appeal was thrown out. And then the Supreme Court goes ahead to even advise that political party leaders must be humble enough to leave the scene when their tenure is over. Who were they talking about? Is it me? I'm not contesting for any party leadership. So if the caretaker committee was unknown to the party, I'm sure the Supreme Court would not even have listened.
But that was not in contention. What was in contention was the issue of tenureship, was the issue of the substantive matter that went to the appeal court as to Mr. Abure, the congresses, and all whatnot that led to the formation of the party, isn't it? Those are the...
And what was what did the court...
No, I'm asking because the confusion here, the Supreme Court ruled as to the supremacy of the party, yes, how the party should use its own internal mechanism to resolve its own issue. And that, look, you cannot allow the court to adjudicate on the internal crisis of the party. The party should be able to do that. So the big question here is that, which one is supreme? Is it the Nenadi Usman headship of the party or the Julius Abure? That's where the confusion right here is.
Let me take you back a little. This whole process started, that's talking about the caretaker committee on September 4th, 2024, last year, after the Independent National Electoral Commission refused to deal with Julius Abure, stating in no uncertain terms that his tenure had lapsed by June 8, 2024.
Because there was a case in court which has not been decided.
No. The INEC did not base that decision
on... but you couldn't recognize it because there was INEC. One of the INEC's reason was that there is a substantive matter in court which has not been decided about the leadership and whether or not you don't forget in Ondo State, who is responsible in fielding or conducting the primary of the party?
Because,
which were the issues?
No, because Julius Group went to court. And INEC is bound to obey any court order, which is why on the INEC portal, what you will see as national chairman and secretary is Julius Abure and his secretary. But of course, with a caveat, by court order. Now that court order no longer exists because those two judgments from the High Court to the Appeal Court, the Supreme Court has simply said they were wrong to have pronounced Abure chairman of the party. I don't know what else you wanted the Supreme Court to do. And if they have thrown it back to the party, who is the party? The party has several segments, several stakeholders. The Nigerian Labour Congress, the Trade Union Congress, elected members of the National Assembly, elected members of the State Assembly, the governor and his deputy, and not to forget our natural leader, Mr. Peter Obi. So if all these segments and other stakeholders, the obedient group, are saying that your tenure has since lapsed, you cannot lead us. By the way, is it when you want to lead people and people say you cannot lead us, if we even leave the courts out of it, would you force your way to say you must lead them? How many people has joined Labour since Abure started this fiasco? It's not bringing anybody into the party. Rather, people are leaving the party because of his intransigence.
Why is this issue? It looks like the Supreme Court judgment is being difficult to understand or to interpret because the two parties here that are affected by this judgment are interpreting it differently.
It's not difficult to interpret.
That is what we in the public are seeing.
No, it's not difficult. The Supreme Court is saying that the party should find a way of resolving issues and not bother it with such issues.
But why is that difficult to do? Why?
No, it's not difficult. I just told you. At the time Abure's tenure lapsed, there were 9 statutory members of the National Executive Council. 7 of them between the NLC and the TUC, and then Governor Oti and his deputy. And these are the same 9 people who went to Umuahia alongside other stakeholders to resolve that the party must move ahead. And that was how the Nenadi Usman Caretaker Committee came about. They were to conduct Congress.
So naturally, after the Supreme Court judgment, what should have happened to Julius Abure and his NWC?
No, what should happen is that the National Caretaker Committee is going to conduct congresses from bottom up.
From the ward
as
to
against,
the LG, to the state and the national.
Yes, as against the inverted pyramid, which Abure did from the top to the bottom. And they haven't even gotten to the... if you're building a 3-story building like Governor Oti said to you, will you start from the
Isn't
top
the Constitution had given them that prerogative to be able to determine how they run the affairs of the party?
It didn't give... Where did the delegates come from? How can you generate delegates if you start the congresses from the top?
So you imagine that, naturally speaking, that as soon as the Supreme Court ruled a few days ago that Mr. these things himself and his colleague in the NWC and exit the stage. Is that the position?
Yeah, exit the stage, but that does not mean leaving Labour Party. The door is still open for him to run for election if he wants to remain as national chairman. But the processes must be followed through. He would have to wait when we have, the structures from the wards and up.
You were at the NEC meeting led by Mr. Peter Obi and Senator Nana Usman today. It does look like from what I hear, because I listen largely to almost everybody who spoke, the disappointment that looks like Mr. Abure is being sponsored or used by external forces. Why do you people feel like that?
Well, in African palace, if the witch cries in the night and the baby dies at dawn, of course, you know where to locate the problem. Certainly, an Abure, you begin to wonder what is giving him the guts. This was the same Abure who rose by subterfuge from Assistant Secretary of Labour Party to become national chairman. I don't want to go too back. You cannot even begin to interrogate that. You begin to wonder who is funding him. Why is it that in every off-season election in all the states, there are issues around money and the wrong use of money? Can Abure tender an account of the party, a party that you leave penniless at every point in time, yet you sell forms, you go, there is a fiasco. So talking about who is funding him, it's like asking who is funding the crisis in the PDP. We all know how it came about.
What does your gut feeling tells you about the crisis in the party? You think that some people are funding it?
Of course.
Who are these people?
The people who were shocked by the phenomenal rise of the Labour Party.
Who are those? Is it the PDP or the APC?
The APC.
Oh, the APC is funding Abure.
I wouldn't know, but he's in bed with them, so they say.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's what is going on. To what end would APC be funding Labour Party?
Well, they know that the Labour Party is actually the opposition party, the #2 party in this country today. And they know that it is a veritable platform for us to challenge for the presidency. You know what happened last time around, the glitches and all of that. But for that, the Labour Party, of course.
Why do you think Mr. Abure will subject, based on your own allusion and your claims, why do you think Mr. Abure would subject himself being used by the ruling party against his own party?
Let me tell you why. Some people prefer to be kings in hell rather than be a chorister in heaven.
Is that the case?
Yes, and so Mr. Abure and his cohorts feel that this is time for them. They have gotten one state, has members in the House of Reps, in the Senate, in the state assemblies, and so it is time to reap from their sweat. Of course, they worked hard for the party, but a party is not run on the sentiments of a few individuals. In the APC, for instance, His Excellency Adamu Abdullahi led them to victory. Is he still chairman of the APC today? If it were an Abure, he would insist that he will remain chairman of that party.
Let me go to page 47, and I hope that my producers can provide us, because I want our viewers to be able to have understanding. A lot of you who may not be privy, and we will see how we can probably put the judgment as available to me here on the channel's website, and we'll see if that can be done before the end of the program. We'll put it on our website. Maybe a lot of you can be able to understand what the details of the judgment of the Supreme Court. Now, if you go to page 47, and quickly, if it can be put on the screen so that I can read some of the paragraphs. Page 47, and the top head of page 47, this is the front page. Can someone just go to page 47, and that's where I'm going to be reading from. And there's some summarization or how the Supreme Court interpreted its position on the crisis. And the Supreme Court says, the three issues submitted for determination are hereby jointly resolved in favor of the appellant. The appellant being Senator Nenadi Usman. Let me just read out who the appellants are. The appellants, number one, Senator Esther Nenadi Usman, Labour Party National Caretaker Committee Chair. Second, Honorable Darlington Nwokocha, Labour Party National Caretaker Committee Secretary. The respondents are Labour Independent National Electoral Commission. Now, let's go back to that page 47. It says, in summary, both the trial court and the court below had no jurisdiction to entertain the suit of this first respondent, which is the Labour Party, which may relieve, as they both rightly observed, was inserted as relief number 5, as though it was an appendage consequent upon the foregoing, the decisions of both trial court and the court below, recognizing Barrister Julius Abure as the national chairman of the first respondent, are hereby set aside, and suit number FHC ABJCS 1271-2024 is hereby struck out for want of jurisdiction. Don't forget, that is the High Court ruling, which says that Abure can act as the national chairman of the party. Yeah. In the same vein, the first respondent, which is the Labour Party, cross-appeal in the appeal number SCCV 56A-2025, being an offshoot of the same judgment of the below court, which is the appellate court, the appeal court, is hereby dismissed. Don't forget, the appeal court judgment says that Mr. Abure is the substantive, authentic national chairman of the Labour Party. Before I'm done, may I admonish political parties and their members to endeavor to always allow their constituents, constitutions, rules, regulations, and guidelines to guide them in choosing their officers as well as candidates. That way, incessant internal rifts, which always find a way to court, will be reduced if the constitution of the political party has prescribed duration for tenure of office of an officer. Such officer should be humble enough to leave at the expiration of the tenure. In the final analysis, I find this appeal to be meritorious and is hereby allowed. Parties shall bear their respective courts. Appeal allowed.
If you just read something, and the learned justice of the Supreme Court, Ian Gokoro, did point out, was inserted. When you see insertion, what does their mind tell you? It didn't go the right way. He tried to smuggle in. That is all the justice was trying to say. And like I said, I find it ridiculous that a layman will be sitting in judgment over the judgment of the highest court in the land. It can only happen with pseudo-comrades like Abure. We have gone ahead today to submit, even though INEC was a party to this suit, to submit the certified true copy of this judgment, parts of which you just read, to INEC to act on it and have Abure's name removed for all time. This is the highest court in the land. You know that in the midst of this crisis, a lot of people have sought to blame our leader, Mr. P2B, that he ought to have just come and made a pronouncement and everything will quiet. I have not spoken on this crisis in the last 1 year because I'm a disciple of Mr. P2B, and he says we must follow through the judicial processes, which came to an end last Friday, 4th of April. So you know that he's a product of the judiciary and has always believed in the judiciary instead of taking recourse to self-help, which of course is what Abure and his gang are doing right now.
What would you think in your mind as a lawmaker? And you've gone to meet INEC, and yes, hopefully you think that the persuasion that you and the leaders of the party today, led by Mr. P2B, Nanadi Usman and Alex Oti, you prevail on INEC to be able to recognize and allow Senator Nanadi Usman to be able to conduct the congresses and allow the party to move forward. Should that not be obliged? What option will be available to your party?
No, if it's not obliged, then they will put in themselves in the line of fire. That would mean a direct affront on the decision of the highest court in the land.
Because this judgment is subject to interpretation of the parties involved.
No judgment is subject to interpretation by the parties.
No, I'm saying, the reason why I'm saying that is that the confusion here is that the letters, as read by the Abure group, is as though they were empowered by this.
Have you even asked yourself what is contained in the cross of appeal by Abure that was thrown out? Have you asked yourself? you need to go and look at the cross appeal? And why would the Supreme Court throw it out in its entirety? Like I said, INEC is a party to this suit. And why would the Supreme Court resolve all the issues in favor of the Esther Nanadi Usman caretaker committee? These are simple issues. Our doors are still open, like I told you. Abure is a party man. We are grateful for his services to the party.
Does it make the group, the party, look vulnerable? Because, and how can you think that Nigerians will respect the capacity of the party to be able to put itself together?
No, it is now that we have even earned greater respect and admiration of multitudes of Nigerians. I just told you that Mr. P2B is a due process person. He could have ended all this if he wanted to use I'm twisting 30s. But he said no. Let the processes go through the whole judicial hog. And it has. What else should the man do? The Supreme Court has returned the party to the owners. And the owners have told you who are the critical segments of the party that are with Abure. You have elected members.
So Abure is dancing alone with his group in the rain. You've thrown them outside of the house.
No. We have not thrown them out.
What about the party headquarters? They're still occupying it. They have the keys.
And we told you that
you are operating outside.
We follow.
You went to rent a hall in Transcorp, but they are sitting pretty, holding all the press conferences in the house.
We follow due process. We will take over our secretariat in the next few days. We follow due process. Just like we served these processes, the judgment on INEC, we have also served on the police and other security agencies. And of course, when we are ready. You don't, because you want to catch a rat, you burn down your house. No self-respecting person will
do you think that the Labour Party will be able to resolve these issues and be able to be fit enough to stand for any reasonable elections? Because the fear that I have, and as such a lot of people will have, is that the party, the Peter Obi and Nanadi Usman-led group today, I said they will review the Abure, the conduct of the primaries in Anambra led by Abure. It leaves the party in a quagmire, doesn't it?
No. They want to be proactive. This judgment came on Friday, preceding the Saturday, April 5th gubernatorial primaries in Anambra. And we don't want to be vulnerable. If you go ahead with that process, your opponent can wait for you. Anambra, forget that Abgai is in power. We have more people on ground. With 2 senators out of 3, 6 House of Representative members out of 11. Then the imposing presence of Mr. P2B as a son of Anambra. Then we are in pole position to clinch Anambra. So we don't want a situation where we will labor in vain. In our own labor, we shall labor to benefit and enjoy the benefits.
And the papa, mama, and the pikin will smile again.
We smile again.
Because the papa and the mama pikin, they don't look like they are smiling on your
logo.
No,
even brother. Yeah. Abure is a brother. He would also be part of the family.
He's not captured in that logo. Maybe he's a papa.
Who can redesign our logo.
But if you have the opportunity, let's assume that Mr. Abure is looking at you right now. What would you be telling him?
I would be telling him that national chairmanship of a party is not the be-all and end-all of life in a party. Life is about service. And even if you're the best and you want to serve people and they say no, do some other things.
So Mr. Abure's time is over?
No, there's still a window, I told you. You could still run for office.
Okay.
If you do one tenure and there are hiccups, I came in 2011 to 15. I was out of the House of Reps for 11, but I'm back here. I didn't go pulling down the house. So Abure should learn from that.
Honorable Victor Afam-Ogene is the leader of the Labour Party in the House of Representatives, representing the the very good people of Anambra State, isn't
Ogbaru Federal
Federal Constituency. Thank you so much indeed, Honorable, for joining us. And
My
I
pleasure.
wish you and the papa, the mama, and the picking of your a very good times, because it's not the best of time for the Labour Party. And I hope that you get yourself together and be a good opposition, because Nigeria needs a very strong opposition. Thanks so much.
Certainly.